Hey gang, Sarah Hill here from Story Up 360. We've assembled a great group here together today to talk about 360-degree video, VR video, 360-degree storytelling, and I'm so glad that you tuned in. These individuals probably already know each other from a Facebook group out there that's 360 VR video professionals, but this might be the first time that they've actually met in person. I know this is the first time that I've met some of you in person via Hangouts, so talking with your avatar is so 2010, and it's great to see you face to face to talk about passions that we share for 360-degree video and 360-degree storytelling. So let's start off with some introductions. Matt, let's start out with you. Say your name, who you work for, and a little bit about yourself.
Sure. I'm Matt Mascheri. I'm the president and CEO of Dome 3D. We're based out of Chicago, and we do everything from VR, 360 live action capture to full dome content creation for planetariums and large format theaters. We're also a certified color partner, so we do training. So if people are interested in getting up to speed and want to know about 360-degree production, we can do everything from build kits to do trainings, to doing productions, and partnering with you to help create 360 content.
Excellent. And a reminder, at any time during this broadcast, if you have a question for any one of the individuals in our panel, you can get it to me in a variety of ways. You can tweet me. That's at SarahMidMo. You can also message me on Google+, and I also have Facebook open as well. So if there's a specific question that you have about 360-degree video, these are the experts, and I will be happy to relay it to them as well. So, Matt Mascheri, our special guest, so appreciate you joining us. Hi, Johnny. You want to introduce yourself and say hello?
Hi guys, yeah, no worries. I'm basically I'm starting out as a freelancer in 360 video. I've got a background as a photographer, and 360 video is something that has completely captured my imagination. Since I've started getting into 360 video, I'm just sort of almost consumed by it. I just absolutely love it. So yeah, I've been doing it probably for almost about a year now, I think. Yeah, I'm based in the UK, near Brighton, yeah, absolutely loving it.
Great. Austin Mace from Austin. That's easy to remember.
Yep. So yeah, my name's Austin Mace. I'm based here in Austin, Texas, with a company called Subversive. I am CEO and co-founder, and we're doing cinematic VR storytelling for brands, fans, and agencies. We started out in traditional video production as freelancers, but we wanted to make storytelling more immersive than just a passive experience. So that's what led us towards 360 video capture.
All right, great. Let's get into some of our questions. Matt Mascheri, let's start with you. Tell people, who might not be familiar with what is virtual reality. We are based here in the Silicon Prairie in Columbia, Missouri, and a lot of individuals have never experienced virtual reality before. So what are you talking about when you say virtual reality?
Sure, VR can take a couple of different forms. Everything from wearing a device such as this, which is the Google, the Gear VR. So this is a head-mounted display that you can either dive into a VR app and play, let's say, a video game, or watch clips of video that 360-degree content producers are creating. So those are just a couple of examples. Additionally, you can also watch 360 VR videos on platforms such as YouTube or Little Star. So there are a couple of ways to actually immerse yourself in 360-degree video, which basically allows you to look up, look down, spin all the way around, looking at basically a video that's mapped on the inside of a sphere, allowing you the complete freedom to look wherever you want and basically be your own director.
Yeah, absolutely. You're inside the video, which is so neat. Let's talk a little bit about how each of you in this hangout first got into 360-degree video. Matt, let's start with you.
Sure. Well, actually, I worked for a planetarium here in Chicago, and that was probably the most immersive type format that you could get into a number of years ago. And so after 8.5 years, I started my own company and doing programming for that. And eventually, as the technology kind of caught up with the ideas that we had, we were able to start capturing 360-degree video. So I partnered up with Jorgen Geertz from Freedom 360, basically from right out of the gate when he kind of got into it. And so we've partnered with him and the Freedom 360 crew from day one, producing content for planetariums, and then eventually started moving off into doing VR and 360 video as well. So you know, we've got an interesting background, a little mix of education, large format theater, content capture, and now we're just playing with the latest and greatest technology.
Jorgen, the godfather, really, of the VR camera, right? Tell people that story who might not be familiar with that.
Well, Jorgen Geertz is a panoramic photographer based out of New York, and I you know, half jokingly, but in all honesty, he really, you know, to me is kind of the godfather of the modern 360 or modern, you know, VR capture gear. So you might see some of the cameras that we have that I've got on my table back here. I've got 3 out of the 4 different mounts that we have available. And Jorgen and his wife Uli and his team over at Freedom 360 are just incredible. They do the 3D printed mounts, which allow for different types of configurations for multi-capture, multi-rig capture for really high-resolution applications. Again, ranging everything from VR 360 on the web all the way up to that high-resolution content capture that we need for full-dome production.
Excellent. John Clark, we appreciate you watching, and all the individuals who are watching on the stream. And a reminder, if you have a question for one of our panelists, we're talking about virtual reality and 360-degree video with some individuals who create that kind of content. Matt Mascheri was talking about how he got into 360-degree video with a planetarium background, and that's what makes this medium really unique, because it brings together people from architecture, you know, journalism, that's my background, you know, planetarium, video content creators. So Austin Mace, how did you get into this medium?
Yeah, so 2 years ago I was taking a class at my university, Miami University in Oxford, Ohio, in Unity, and I was trying to figure out a way that I could make something in virtual reality that wasn't necessarily a game, but was still an immersive experience. So I started seeing all the different stuff that people were doing with GoPro arrays, and being a college student, that's a little bit out of my price range. So I built one of the world's first open source Raspberry Pi powered 360 cameras. And that, I know that's kind of a mouthful, but the
Say
university
it again.
kind of, yeah. So being at a university kind of gave me a creative box to work within, with the tools that a Silicon Valley company would have, but then again on a student budget. So the kind of maker mentality that I entered the space into, and kind of making my own solutions, is really what drew me in, because I was also relying on my traditional video background experience that I'd accumulated as well. So every day I'm solving creative and technical problems, and that excites me and makes it really exciting to go to work every day.
Absolutely. How about you, Johnny? Did you come from a video content creator background?
No, I'm essentially an underwater photographer. I was basically contacted by a scuba company who basically sell holidays abroad to Egypt. They have a fleet of boats, etc. And they wanted to find a way that they could portray the sort of product they sell in a new and exciting manner. So 360 VR seemed to be the obvious choice. So the way it basically started is I went out and shot a load of 360 VR underwater, and also on their fleet of boats, etc. And it's proved to be a huge success, and it's basically just grown from there. So I'm not only doing underwater 360 VR, but also sort of land-based stuff as well. So yeah, that's how I got started in it.
Excellent. So let's talk a little bit about you know, content creation. Matt, if there's an individual out there watching, you know, perhaps they're a journalist, or they are shooting with a regular equirectangular. Say that fast 3 times, right? I mean, that's what you call it, or a fixed frame camera? How can you help them transition into 360-degree video? What do they need, and what kind of expense ballpark are they talking about?
Right. Well, we actually can supply those people with an entire turnkey kit, which consists of the mount, the cameras, the software, everything. All the cameras go through upgrades. We format them, get them ready for a 360 shoot. So basically, it's a turnkey operation. Pop open the case. Everything that you need there for your productions is ready to go. And we've got a number of options that we get from our partners, including Freedom 360, and we've got a number of other suppliers out there that we work with in order to customize these kits tailored specifically to what our customers' needs are. So that's one way about going and doing it. And there are other options out there. So if you want to start smaller, there are definitely some of the open source things that are available out there. But for professionals that are kind of looking to get into this realm, we do one-on-one consultations. We'll do stuff online. We travel all over the world, showing off our kits, doing trainings. So we do one-on-one trainings to get people that aren't necessarily familiar with 360 video, getting them prepped so they can just hit the ground running and go out and start shooting content. There is a little bit of a learning curve. I mean, let's face it, it's not just point, shoot, and click or click and shoot. So I mean, you are dealing with some of the bleeding edge technologies that are available. There are some things such as stitching that take a little bit of time to learn, but a lot of the software has really matured over the past couple of years, and within a few clicks, it gets you a good 80-85% of the way there before you really have to start tweaking it. So really, I mean, again, we're just starting this whole 360 video revolution. It's just going to get better. It's going to get easier. Resolution is going to get better. Cameras are all going to talk to each other. Everything's going to behave nicely. Of course, there's little bugs and gremlins and everything that's first generation. So, as the tools get a little bit more mature, things will get a little bit easier. But now is really the time to jump in and get ahead of that wave.
All right, and if you're just watching, a reminder, you're watching a conversation with 360-degree video professionals talking about some best practices, some challenges that they have, as well. If you have a question for one of our guests, you can tweet me at Sarah with an H, Midmo, SARAH-MIDMO. I'm also watching the Facebook stream as well, and lots of the same questions come in over and over again, and I'm sure, Matt, you run into this as well, but in your all's opinion, what do you think is the biggest challenge right now in creating VR live action?
I think right now it's explaining to the client what VR is before they experience it. Right now it's a big buzzword, and people, they feel like they want to jump in and they want to ride this wave, but until they actually put on, a head-mounted display. I mean, once you get a client into one of these, that's really where the light goes off. So for people that are creating content, it's convincing other people who are non-techies, who don't understand anything about 360 video, what it can do for them in terms of marketing their brand, marketing their event. So that right now to me is the biggest hurdle, is being able to market what we're able to do. In terms of just kind of getting started, yeah, there definitely are some upfront costs, and sometimes that's a tough pill to swallow. But you ink a couple of clients, and those expenses are gone, and the ball just gets rolling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think the learning curve too. Individuals who are familiar with editing regular fixed frame equirectangular video, it's different when you are stitching all of those different streams together, 6 different streams with your camera, sometimes 5, into one equirectangular. Austin and Johnny, what are your challenges? I find that the stitching is the greatest hurdle, but what are you guys experiencing?
Yeah. So something that I've had a lot of issues with, and my other co-founder has had a lot of issues with, is if a traditional video camera is like driving automatic, shooting stuff in 360 is like stick shift, in that every little asset has to be micromanaged and made sure that then double checked and triple checked to make sure that your shoot's going well. Because when you're shooting with 6 cameras or 12 cameras, if you're doing stereoscopic, that's 12 points of failure or 6 points of failure that you have to be consciously aware of. So there's a lot of manual bookkeeping type tasks that have to go on so that to make sure that your shoot's going well. And if you're a diligent person, that can be overcome, but there's yet to be really a turnkey camera solution to come out that can handle all the demands of 360 video production. And Johnny, I'm sure you've ran into those problems as well.
Oh, yeah. Most definitely, most definitely.
Yeah, and Matt, feel free to chime in there if you have specific solutions to some of these challenges. Go ahead, Johnny.
I was just going to say basically that I hugely agree with what Matt was saying earlier about sort of getting people interested in VR. When you're talking to big clients, perhaps, it's very difficult to sort of tell them before they put the headset on what it is you're basically trying to sell them. But going on to the actual sort of production side of it, yeah, there are quite a lot of problems there, right through to sort of how do you actually mount the cameras, the best way, your different frame rates, etc. Your ISOs, are you shooting into light, etc. There's so many different variables to consider. But really the only way to sort of get around that is just by practice, constantly practicing and seeing how different bits of footage will stitch. You know, why is one bit of footage stitched a bit better than the other? Also learning about the sort of different distances that you can shoot. So if you're in a sort of confined space and you've got tables and chairs, etc., how far away can they be from the camera? How will they behave with different objects at different distances? That's one of the challenges that I've found, especially with the underwater stuff. And I've got fish flying all over the place and shooting inside shipwrecks, etc.
Yeah, Matt, yeah. Underwater is tough.
Yeah, that's definitely a very unique place to be shooting, just because unlike out of the water, here in like this particular room, we would be able to snag control points, where underwater you're really not going to have a lot of edges and you're not going to have a lot of information there. So in that case, you're talking about a very specific rig, or the rig that we would use is by Kolor. It's called the Abyss, we actually have to come up with a specific panel file for underwater, just because again there's not a lot of those reference points down there. So it's really kind of neat to see what people are doing, shooting underwater, shooting in outer space, tying things to weather balloons, race cars, jumping out of airplanes. It's just amazing to see what people are attempting with 360 video.
Wow, people are they're watching you a lot. They say, the question comes from Stefan Esping, asking, for creating cinematography 360 video, what camera setup would you recommend? Matt?
Well, the one and only camera setup that we recommend is from Freedom 360. You can visit our website or email me direct, and we can send you all the information if you are looking for a turnkey kit. We can point you in the direct direction if you're looking for just specific parts. Again, we also do offer the training there. So that's kind of a loaded question, just because it could be really long. But that's kind of the short answer right there. I know that there are a number of rigs out there on the market, but what we find is that a lot of our customers are coming from people, they're people that have tried those other rigs and then finally settle on ours because they know that it's the one that's really the one that's most widely used and very well respected in the industry right now.
Excellent. And Austin and Johnny, what kind of, and Matt as well, what kind of other devices are you using, for instance, for sync? Matt, you've got a secret weapon there with your little dog clicker. I've been going around clapping my hands, for forever, and Matt has this a dog clicker. You can get it online, and it makes the same little noise. But are there any other products that you have found that have been really helpful to your workflow that you would like to share with other individuals or other 360 people who are getting into this medium?
Yeah, I think I've got a couple of different ways of doing it. I always tend to use the twist technique. I find it syncs a lot better. I've had some bad experience using the dog clicker. Again, I'll reference a job that I did out in Egypt on the dive boats. I was doing some shots on the dive deck and using the clicker, but what I wasn't particularly aware of was the amount of wind that I had. Not myself personally, but so we had a lot of wind coming through through the deck, if you see what I mean. And the cameras just picked this wind up and couldn't pick up the sound of the ticker. So I found it very difficult to sync the cameras from that. So I tend to just use the sort of twist on tripod technique. The other way of doing it, of course, is if you have a sort of metal-lined chill bag, you can put that over the cameras and fire a flash gun up underneath that. So all the cameras pick up a reflected light. That works very well as well.
Okay. Austin, you were adding heat sinks to GoPros, I see online today. Were you showing some pictures?
We had some overheating issues today here in Texas. So there's some venture-backed companies that are using GoPros to shoot that are using heat sinks to deal with that issue. So we're going to try and see if that works. But in terms of syncing, it's all done with the GoPro remote, and that's the most accurate way to do it right now, but it's not wholly accurate. So if you're recording at, say, like 90 frames per second, and you hit record, not everything starts instantaneously. It could be a few frames off here or there. So what we've been using is similar to Johnny's solution, which is firing off a strobe, like what you use for photography, and then manually syncing the frames that way. That way, all the cameras are getting the light at just the same amount of time, and then we sync from there. Another thing that we do is we twist the tripod head to give a motion blur to sync that way. That's another accepted way. And we also do a clap for an audio sync as well. So there's 3 points, and if all 3 fail, then I guess we're out of luck.
Yeah. All right, we have just a couple more minutes now. Matt, anything that you would like to share before we go about gear, about best practices, about things, challenges that you've encountered, and you know, you are doing trainings out there. What are some of the most common issues that you're finding that is either confusing people or getting them frustrated?
Well, really, it's kind of the 101 stuff. It's the basic foundations, making sure that they're shooting in the correct 4:3 aspect ratios, making sure that they're shooting at the correct frame rate for whatever it is that they're shooting. You know, determining what their output is, making sure that they understand that pre-production is just as important as the production itself. You know, while you can go out with these cameras and shoot guerrilla style really well, your shoot's going to turn out just immensely better if you actually sit down with your client, or you sit down, you know, with your art director, whoever, and actually storyboard things out and just kind of lay things out so you know what you're shooting, when you're shooting, how you're shooting, what you're shooting for, and that goes a long way to, you know, alleviating a lot of headaches while you're on a shoot.
Mm-hmm. Austin or Johnny, you want to chime in there?
Johnny?
That's all right.
I broke up then. Sorry.
No, that's all right. You were quiet there. What advice would you guys give to journalists, because there are a lot of newsies on our stream right now? What advice would you give to a journalist who has to capture content quickly, get it processed quickly in order to the air? You know, not a lot of news organizations are doing VR video and putting it online, because obviously you have to stitch it. It takes time to render that footage as well. Matt, let's start with you. If you could talk to a journalist right now, what would you tell them?
Well, I would just say get a quick laptop. I mean, they're the laptops that we use here. They're, you know, Windows 7 based. You know, they don't have to have the latest and greatest in processor and graphics cards, but you know, the faster the better. And you can turn around a video really, really quick within a matter of minutes if you're doing a 2 or 3 minute segment and have it posted online. There are also other, you know, smaller tools. Again, if you're looking for stuff that's lower resolution, that are you know, consumer, you know, prosumer, that are available. You know, so search the forums. Facebook is a great place to start. You know, we've got this 360 professionals section on there. It's a great group, lots of information out there. So I would just say jump right in and start asking your questions.
And if you guys would talk about what machines that you're using to stitch and render on. I am on a MacBook Pro mid 2012, 16 gigs of memory with an upgraded graphics card. Matt, how about you? What are you using to stitch?
Well, when we're on the road, we've got a couple of gigabyte machines, which are maxed out on RAM. Everything's SSD, NVIDIA cards. At the office here, we've got a pretty beefy machine. Again, dual SSDs, 64 gigs of RAM, some of the latest NVIDIA cards there. So we're trying to maximize the GPU CUDA cores there for rendering instead of relying on CPU rendering, because GPU is just so much more faster.
Okay.
Yeah, we actually just tackled this problem last week. We were looking at the baseline Mac Pro. It's around $3,500, but at that price point, we decided to just build something custom for the office, and that really allowed us to take advantage of what Matt was mentioning. A lot of the rendering's done on the GPUs now, so we were able to get dual 980s, 980 Ti's, which are these really high-end graphics cards, but still put us below the introductory price of buying a Mac Pro. So you're going to need to invest a little bit on the computing side of things, but it's well worth it, because then you're not waiting, for 1 to 2 days for your sheet to stitch.
Okay. Johnny, how about you, real quickly? What machine are you using to stitch and render?
At the moment, I'm using an i7 with I forget exactly what graphics card I've got in there, because I've just changed a few over. But basically, it's sort of in the workflow. I use After Effects a lot as well. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, workflow is a whole nother topic for another time, and I know we're running short on time here. But guys, thank you so much for sharing your expertise with us. Matt Mascheri, trainer with Kolor and of Dome 3D as well. Austin Mace of Subversive in Austin, and Johnny Simpson Lee. Did I say that right? Simpson Lee or Lee Simpson?
Simpson Lee, you said it right.
Simpson Lee. All right, and
Simpson Lee.
he is from Brighton as well. So appreciate you guys joining us and sharing your expertise with us. If you have additional questions about 360 video, Matt Mascheri is an expert here. Does color trainings as well. You can find him a lot in that forum, that Facebook forum for 360 VR video professionals. I'm Sarah Hill from Story Up. Have a great day. We'll see you later.